The Galactic Council chamber hummed with frustrated whispers as beings from 12 different star systems stared at the massive holographic display floating before them. The three-dimensional puzzle rotated slowly, its crystalline segments pulsing, with different colored lights in what appeared to be random patterns. For the past 6 standard hours, the greatest minds in the galaxy had been attempting to solve what the ancient Vorthak had called the Celestial Lock. Ambassador Zethkar of the Rigelian Collective rubbed his 4 eyes with exhaustion. His species had conquered quantum mechanics when humans were still discovering fire. Yet this puzzle remained as incomprehensible as it had been when they first encountered it. The geometric pattern seemed to follow no logical sequence, defying every mathematical principle his people had mastered over millennia. "Perhaps we should take another recess," suggested Dr. Yilthanor, the chief xenoarchaeologist from the Centauri Republic. Her tentacles twitched nervously as she manipulated her portable quantum computer, running algorithm after algorithm against the puzzle's seemingly chaotic structure. "My systems have analyzed 2.7 million possible combinations, and none have yielded results. The Vorthak artifact had been discovered 3 months ago on a dead world at the galaxy's edge. According to the inscription surrounding it, solving the puzzle would unlock the location of the Vorthak's greatest treasure, a cache of technology that could revolutionize space travel and energy production. Every major civilization had sent their best minds to crack the code, but progress had been non-existent." Fleet Commander Torvex of the militant Draxian Empire slammed his armored fist against the table, causing several smaller delegates to jump. 6 hours, he roared, his translator struggling to convey his species' unique blend of frustration and rage. 6 hours we waste on this primitive trinket while our fleets wait in orbit. The Vorthak were hardly primitive, Dr. Yilthanor corrected coolly. Their civilization spanned the galaxy long before any of ours achieved spaceflight. If they created this puzzle, there must be a logical solution. "Then why haven't we found it?" Zethkar demanded. "We've applied every known form of mathematics, physics, and xenopsychology to this problem. My people solved the maze of echoing thoughts in mere minutes, yet this defeats us." It was then that the chamber doors slid open with a soft hiss. A figure entered, bipedal, relatively small, with pale skin and light brown hair tied back in a simple ponytail. The human representative had finally arrived. "Apologies for the delay," said Dr. Elsa Martinez, adjusting her simple tablet computer under her arm. "Traffic from the jump gate was terrible." She looked around the chamber at the dozens of alien faces, all staring at her with mixtures of curiosity and barely concealed disdain. "I'm guessing you've started without me?" Commander Torvex snorted, a sound that translated as deep contempt. "The primitives finally grace us with their presence. Human, your species has barely left. Your home system. What possible contribution could you make to solving a puzzle that has stumped civilizations thousands of years your senior?" Elsa smiled politely, setting down her tablet. "Well, I suppose we'll find out." She walked toward the holographic display, studying it with casual interest. "So this is the famous Vorthak puzzle everyone's been talking about." "Dr. Martinez," Dr. Yilthanor said more diplomatically, "we've been analyzing this artifact for 6 standard hours. The pattern appears to be completely random, defying all known mathematical principles. Perhaps if you could assist our computational efforts—" "Oh, it's not random at all," Elsa interrupted, still studying the floating puzzle. "Actually, it's quite elegant once you see the trick." The chamber fell silent. Even the translator devices seemed to pause in confusion. "Excuse me." Zethkar's 4 eyes narrowed. "You claim to see a pattern that has eluded the greatest minds in the galaxy?" Elsa shrugged. "Sometimes being less advanced has its advantages. You're all thinking like advanced civilizations, quantum matrices, multi-dimensional algorithms, exotic physics. But look at this thing." She gestured at the puzzle. "The Vorthak were ancient when your civilizations were young, right? They lived in a simpler time." She walked around the hologram, examining it from different angles. "See? You're all trying to solve this like it's some kind of high-tech quantum lock. But what if it's not? What if it's just a puzzle? Dr. Yilthanor's tentacles writhed in frustration. Dr. Martinez, with respect, we've been treating it as a puzzle. That's precisely the problem. No, Elsa said, reaching toward the holographic interface. You've been treating it like an alien puzzle. But what if the Vorthak weren't so different from us? Her fingers moved through the holographic controls, and something remarkable happened. Instead of trying to manipulate the complex three-dimensional matrix that had confounded the greatest minds in the galaxy, she began rotating segments in simple, almost childlike movements. The pattern that emerged was stunning in its simplicity. What the aliens had perceived as chaos was actually a basic geometric progression, the kind that human children learned in elementary mathematics. The colored lights weren't random energy signatures. They were following a sequence that any human who had played with wooden blocks would recognize. Within 30 seconds, the puzzle began to respond. Segments aligned, colors synchronized, and the entire structure began to pulse with a warm golden light. "Impossible," whispered Commander Torvex. "Not impossible," Elsa replied, making the final adjustment. "Just different." The puzzle completed itself with a satisfying chime that seemed to resonate in harmonious frequencies across the chamber. The holographic display transformed, revealing star charts, technological schematics, and coordinates that made every being in the room gasp with wonder. "How?" Dr. Yilthanor asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Elsa turned back to the assembled delegates, many of whom were staring at her with expressions ranging from shock to newfound respect. Sometimes the most advanced solution is the simplest one. You were all so focused on how sophisticated the Vorthak were that you forgot they were also people. And people, no matter how advanced, sometimes just want to play. She picked up her tablet and headed toward the exit. "I'll have my report filed within the hour. Oh, and Commander Torvex?" She paused at the doorway. "You might want to tell your fleets to stand down. According to those coordinates, the Vorthak treasure isn't a weapon. It's a library. Enjoy your reading." As the door closed behind her, the chamber remained in stunned silence. Ambassador Zethkar was the first to speak, his voice filled with something that might have been wonder. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "we have underestimated the humans." Dr. Yilthanor nodded, her tentacles tracing complex patterns in the air, her species equivalent of deep thought. Indeed, their simplicity, it may be their greatest strength. Outside in the corridor, Elsa smiled to herself as she walked toward her shuttle. Her colleague Dr. Helen Park would find this story amusing. After all, it had been Helen who suggested that sometimes the best way to solve an impossible problem was to stop trying so hard. The greatest minds in the galaxy had spent hours overthinking a simple puzzle. Sometimes, Elsa reflected, being human wasn't such a disadvantage after all.